Well, hello everybody, and thanks for watching what is part 2 of introducing you to STB Mania Land. So the first video, which was very long, and I hope you guys watched the whole thing without skipping parts, because it's important, was basically showing you my whole world in Minecraft. Well, this video is going to be an update to show you some of the changes I've made, which is why it's so very important to watch the first one. This video will be much shorter, so just so you know. Alright, so I'll start with, I just got up after a long night's sleep, and I have this cool little house which I have built in the desert village. And you can see, if you remember, maybe not, but I have updated the village a little bit, fixed some of the issues with it, like the well was plugged up, so I kind of made it easier to access. And you'll notice over there's a minecart track. So that's also new. So that's the first thing I'm really going to show you in the updates. Okay. So I kind of made... Oh, you notice that for my house over here, I used a different kind of stone that's more decorative. I built that there just in case I needed to do business here, and that's where I stayed while I was fixing up the village. And you'll see some villagers around here. They're just having some fun. I also fixed some of these houses had dirt floors, so I fixed that. Okay, so over here is my new railway that I use to travel from the desert village back to my home, or vice versa. I got some cool signs on the road now too. Haven't done any changes with my archaeological site yet. I might just keep it halfway dug in. So, this is my minecart track. Now there's a lot of different ways people do minecarts. The easiest way is probably just building a track and then using a minecart with a furnace in it, and then having a second minecart in front of it, and then you can put coal in the furnace in the minecart and it'll push you like a train. But because that's not very sustainable, I used power rail. Now, the way I used a power rail is that I have these little indicator tracks. I forget what they're called, but basically when the minecart rolls over it senses the minecart and then it activates the track next to it. So this gold track here, that's the power rail. So whenever the minecart rolls over the gold track, it pushes it forward. Now I have two of these detector tracks on each side, or I think they're called activator tracks. Because if you have just one, like let's say I didn't have that one right there, if the minecart came on the opposite direction, it would hit the gold track, but the gold track would not be activated, so it would act as a brake, so the minecart would stop. And I'll show you. See, that's... Oh, actually, yeah. So right here, that's what I have. So when you're getting in the minecart from this direction and you push forward, it'll hit the activator, which will activate the gold track, and that'll push you forward. But when you're coming back this direction, there's no activator rail right there, so it'll hit the gold track and it'll stop. But actually, I think it just slows down a lot, because usually I go right through, but by the time I pass through the gold and hit this track here, I'm going pretty slow, so I hit this bumper and it doesn't really do anything. Actually, I could show you right now. So when you're going this way, see, it just, yeah, so it basically slows you to a stop, and then I push forward, and then I usually leave the cart there. Now, when I was building this track, it was a little confusing, because normally, in order to activate rail, you need redstone torches. So if I had a redstone torch right there on the gold rail, it should keep it activated. But I think that messes things up because you only want the rail to be activated when you need it to speed boost. And I don't remember why, but this was my original design. It could have changed. This is based on the cart designs I did way back several years ago when I was first making rail tracks, so I don't know. But essentially what I think is the redstone should allow the cart to activate this detector track, although when I was building this rail, I noticed that when the minecart was going over this rail here, even when there wasn't a torch there, it still seemed to be activating the gold rail. So it's very possible that the movement or force that you're using to go over the detector rail is enough to power the gold rail without needing the redstone torches. So I may have wasted a ton of redstone just making these torches. But I think it's really cool having the torches here, especially at night. It just kind of has this neat, eerie looking glow. Also, I have set the chunks at 12 chunks. That's the distance that the world renders. I find that for making videos that should be better. I usually play on 20 chunks, but sometimes it doesn't load the whole world when you're moving and it looks weird and you can see holes and stuff. So this way it should be able to load enough of the world while we're traveling along the track that it's not going to show holes and stuff. Hey, what's up, dude? You better be careful. This is a dangerous place for you, because this is a railway here. So I was using this railway not only for transporting myself, but also to transport villagers. So like this guy, if I really wanted to, I could push him into this minecart, or I probably would put a minecart like right there, push him into it, and then I'd get in here and then push. Oh! And then it would push him in his minecart along the track, and I would follow with mine. But I'm not going to do that because I don't need to. I've already transported all the villages I've needed. And you'll see that in my town, there's a lot of villagers now. These guys are just kind of hanging out. So when I'm ready to go, basically I just hop into here, and then I just push forward a little bit. I don't even have to push for that much. And then we get going on the minecart. So it's kind of fun. You can see my road there, over to the archaeological site. And basically the track runs along the main road for the most part. With the exception of this beginning part. Oh, there's a bridge, yeah, the railway bridge. So I've placed the gold tracks, I think about 13 blocks apart from each other. Now you can see that my main bridge has the railway attached to it. Oh, now up ahead you see some strange contraption which I will discuss in a little bit. But first we gotta finish the railway travel. I have to admit, I love this railway track. Alright, now you're going to notice a significant difference here because there's all these buildings and a farm here. Ooh, and an iron golem. Alright, so that is the railway. So usually I just leave the cart there, although now that there's people living around here, I am kind of worried that they might accidentally get into this minecart. Oops. Alright, this is Workers' Row. This is the new settlement that I have built outside of the main town. And you can see we got a worker guy here, but he's not working the farm. I built this mainly so that I could farm iron. When, ironically, once I got this all settled and I was able to farm iron, I went on a underground adventure and I found a crap load of iron ore veins, so now I have plenty of iron, so I really don't need to farm right now, but I'll show you how this works in a second. I do not have the lead. So I will show you the next new thing real quick. This is my new ranch, where I have a lot of animals, and that is a fun building there I'll talk about in a little bit. There's a lot of things I'm going to talk to you about in a little bit. Over here is where I breed my cows and pigs and other animals. Okay. So, what you want to do, if you want to farm iron and you don't want to have to do exploring, sometimes it's just a pain to go look for iron underground. I built this little village here that's technically separated from my other village. So I have technically, as far as the game is concerned, I have 2 villages. This is the big one. And I've added all of these little tiny houses. So the whole point of this is that, as far as the game is concerned, this right here is one house. And the reason why is because there's a door here, so you need a door. There's no blocks blocking this door. But on the other side, there's one block. So the point of that is, for the game to consider something a house, you need to have a door, and you need to have blocks on the other side, on one side of the door. I think it's the other side of the door, so like here. You have to have more blocks over the door on this side than there is on the outside. So the inside block is 1, and the outside block is 0. So it sees that as a house. So each one of these doors here is a house. And each one of these is also a house. So I came up with this idea as sort of like a row of apartments. They're not the most roomy apartments. They're kind of small, but that counts as a house. And you do need to have a roof. I think, see, technically, you could probably just have like a door and a block above it and a block behind it to count as a house. But this is basically, if you're wanting to know how to make the smallest house as possible, the safest way to do it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks here, add a door, and then cover the door up. So as you can see, behind here is covered. Now this is the original style homes I was putting in at first, where it's basically 5 blocks one way, 3 blocks this way, and there's a door between each block basically, and they're all connected. So this is technically considered a 6 houses. This one thing, because you have 6 doors. There's no blocks covering the outside. There's more than no blocks covering on the inside. And so it says, okay, that's a house. The reason why I like this is I just think this is a little bit easier to build. It's one long line. Technically, this is probably the most efficient way, because this is each building here is considered 6 houses, while this long thing is more than 6 houses. But if I built this style along here, it'd be more houses probably. But the whole point of building these very odd homes here is so that I can get my village population up, so that I can spawn the iron golems, which are these guys. And so basically the way this works is, once you get an iron golem to spawn, then you can take a lead, which is made from let's see, a slime ball, and I forget. Oh, I think a villager fell down. For some reason, the villagers just love climbing up this mountain up here, and they love to climb the trees. So I will find them on top of these trees sometimes, and it's like, wow, they like to live dangerously. So anyway, I think a slime ball, and I forget, and string. Oh yeah, I think it's string and the slime ball makes a lead. So you get your lead, and you right-click on the golem, and yes, you can actually lead golems, which is pretty sweet. So what I do is I walk the golem down. And the reason why I have him coming down here is because I'm trying to get him away from the spawn point. They always seem to spawn where this guy was, where I tracked him. So about right here is pretty far. So what I can do is I can attach the lead there. Oops, I fell down. Well, that was fun. I fell down into water. I really should probably design that better. Oops. And now I put some redstone where I wasn't supposed to. Okay. Ooh. So I can attach him there, I can leave him there, and I can walk back to the village, and sometimes another golem will spawn. So from where this contraption is to where the spawn point is, because it's usually right there by that hill, is far enough so that the villagers will not know that I'm about to kill this nice, cool iron golem. Because if I were to kill the golem near the villagers, they would start to hate me. So this way, they don't know what happened to this golem guy, and they don't really seem to care. They'll just create another golem eventually. And the iron golems are supposed to protect the villagers, but right now it's on peaceful, so they have no danger, so the iron golems are useless to them. But if I was to play on normal, you can see that most of this area is open. I don't have any castle walls or parapets or anything to protect this small village, so if it was on normal right now, there would be monsters all over the place, and then the iron golem would probably protect the villagers. And they seem to clump up, but if there was like enemies around, they'd probably be running into those buildings. Hopefully. You never know with these guys. Okay, so let's say I'm at the point where I am ready to kill this guy. So, the first thing that you need to do with this particular contraption, this is a kill pit. What I did is I want to be careful here. Originally, I was going to have water flow down to make it easier, but then I realized I don't really need it because water can push iron golems. So I was thinking I'll use water to push them in to make it easier to get them in the pit, but I didn't need it, so I took away the water. But as you can see, I made most of this out of cobblestone. And down there are a couple of hoppers. And so the way this works is I take the lead and then I say, come on, guy. So I walk over the pit, basically, and I get him to follow me. And what I can do is just push him in. Come on. There you go. Okay, so now I made sure to take the lead off first. And then I pushed him in. So now he is stuck. And he's like, I don't know what I'm doing in here. And so once you push him in there, he can't get out. You walk up this platform here. So here is the main mechanism to activate the pit. So I've got this redstone activation switch thing here and some pistons. And basically I have this sand here. So to activate the trap, I hit the switch. I drop the sand, it completely covers him, and now it's going to kill him very slowly. Now, once I'm waiting to do this, what I do is I guess technically activate the redstone to close the trap, and I don't have any sand, but I would then use this sand measure marker to reload the trap. But I don't have the sand, so we can just leave it open for now. So you come down here, and you feel horrible because you're killing this guy, but technically he's just a robot, so an iron robot, kind of. I don't know. Maybe he's a magical iron guy. Okay, so he's died. So I don't know if you saw that, but all the stuff he dropped from death went into the hoppers. So once you've killed the iron guy, then you have to go down. And I haven't really created any easy way to do it, so I should probably create some stairs. Didn't think about that. But anyway, you come down here, and now you'll notice there's another redstone contraption. So usually I like to have the redstone along the cobblestone, but I haven't replaced the dirt with cobblestone yet, which I eventually will. But this just shows you kind of how this works. This is another device. I'll show you about that in a second. So you come down in here, you'll notice that there's torches here, and there's two hoppers, and the hoppers are connected to the chest. So when I open the chest, there's iron and some poppy flowers. Now this is a very rudimentary kill pit device. It takes a while to kill them, and there's no way to lock the iron golems. Like if I wanted to, I could, and I probably will at some point, level out this dirt field here and build like a jail prison cell to put the iron golems in. And then because what you can do is you can take them, and as soon as you move the golem over here, he's far away enough that eventually another golem will spawn in that village. So if I wanted to, if I was working over here in my town, and I didn't feel like just killing one golem at a time, I could move him in and basically lock him in some kind of prison here, and then go back to work. And then every time I saw a golem spawn, I could move him in, and then just get a clutter of golems here. Of course, this is a one at a time kill pit, so I would still only be able to kill one at a time. But at least I could store a bunch of golems, so at some point, if I wanted to do that, it'd just make it a little bit easier. Anyway, okay, so let's say you've killed a golem, and now you've got another golem you want to kill. But you don't want to walk all the way up and shovel the sand up there because it's a pain in the butt. So, what you do is you flip this switch, and voila. So basically what the switch does is it opens up the platform that the golem stands on while he's getting killed, and it drops all the sand out, and the torches break up the sand and make them easy to pick up. So basically, that makes it super easy to do this. Once the golem's dead, cleanup is pretty easy because then you just hit the switch and the sand gets cleaned up. Then you close the platform again, and you're ready to set the trap for another golem. See? Much easier than digging out all the sand. So then you go back up here, you close the trap. Now I use 16 blocks, you technically only need, let's see, 12, but I have 16 blocks, that way the sand covers up the pit entirely, because sometimes the items will spawn on top of the sand, so it makes it easier to pick up items if they do. And so you go like this. Oh, whoops. Well, I didn't quite do that right. Alright. Who else but Scott Brown, right? Okay, so now... Wow. Seriously. Oh, that's just great. By the by, I have it on peaceful. I think I mentioned that already. Alright, so... Now the sand trap is ready to be set loose on the next unsuspecting iron golem who you're going to murder. Because you want iron. And you're too lazy to go mine it yourself. So, if I really want to, I can farm iron that way. But, like I mentioned earlier, I don't need to because I have a crap load of iron that I found when I was going on an adventure underground. One of the neat things about this farm is now that if you want to breed villagers, it's not as easy as it used to be. In the old way was basically you would build all these buildings, you'd get 2 villagers over here, they'd make out and do stuff, and then they would create another villager. And then after a few minutes, they'd do that again until the game said, okay, there's too many of you. Well, I don't know how recently it was, but they changed that so now villagers only mate if they have been traded with recently or if they have a certain amount of food. So now you need to make sure you have farms in your village. And the way I have this set up is I have rows of carrots there and here, and I have some wheat because a villager needs 12 carrots to be ready to mate, or 3 loaves of bread. Bread's pretty easy to make, and so it's less, but I have quite a bit of carrots, so that just gives me an easy way to do it myself. And so I was giving them food myself, but then luckily a fisher guy grew up. So one of the kids they had ended up becoming a fisherman. So that is the clothes of the guys who either farm or they fish or do other things. But those guys, regardless of what their official job is, he will go into that farm and he will harvest some crops and he will give it to people, and that eventually he'll give them enough food that they'll mate themselves. So I no longer have to do that, although occasionally I will help it along because he's just one dude and there's a lot of people. So anyway, that's how villages grow now. So you can be the farmer yourself. It makes it a little bit quicker. But if you get lucky and get enough of these guys, and they'll do it themselves. So that makes villages more autonomous. Okay, well, I have kind of showed you the new ranch I've built. But before we do that, I am going to show you one new thing I built down here. Now, there you can see as still my restaurant, which I have not completed yet. I will eventually get to it. Over here we have a sewer access tunnel. This is also an emergency exit. So, I'll show you why I built this in a minute. But basically I'm using iron doors so that way villagers can't get through. So villagers can only open wood doors. They can't open iron doors, even if you put a button. They don't know how to push buttons, apparently, which makes it great. So, here is my sewer access tunnel. And I have, on the other side, a pressure plate, so that when you're leaving, you just step on that, yeah, and you can get out. But to get in, you have to push a button, and that way villagers won't accidentally get in here. In here, I've got a couple other doors. This leads to another underground cave, which eventually leads you outside. So this is like a secret way to get in and out. And I used buttons. Oops. I've used buttons for the doors, just in case villagers somehow get in here. They probably won't, but. And I have torches, and this is a completely cobblestone tunnel. Here's another door for... I guess I'll go out a little bit. There's another... Wow, what is this? This cave and stuff that just leads to... I'll show you, there's really nothing here. But a lot of gravel. If I ever need gravel, like that's a place to get it. Let's see, these are, I think, 5 blocks apart, each torch. This is essentially just to make sure monsters don't spawn in here when I go back to normal. So I've got signs, and this is saying the sewer entrance is this way, this one's saying exit to the harbors that way. But basically this tunnel is so I can escape my town if for some reason I can't get out the main gate. Exit. And again. Alright, so you'll know this is my sewer. I am now underneath the main town. Emergency tunnel exit. So I climb up here, open the sewer cover, and I am out. So this is a little change you may notice. I now have these trap doors, which are the entrance to my sewer, level with the floor. Originally, the door was up a little bit because I had a ladder right there in that blank spot. But now that the game allows you to auto jump, I decided it's just better to flatten it out here. So now the trapdoor is even with the cobblestone floor. Okay. Not a big exciting difference. This, of course, is my jail cell, which I use to create villagers from zombie villagers. The good times. Alright, this is Main Street. I put some rose bushes in here just to make this look a little nicer. Okay. Oh yeah, okay. So this is why I have that tunnel. So this is my main gate, as you may remember from before. I can trap enemies or people in there and then activate the switches and drop lava in here to kill whatever's inside there. And the main purpose is to keep bad guys out. However, now my town is expanding quite a bit. So I may end up... Ooh, don't open that yet. I may end up changing this gatehouse. Maybe even removing the lava. I don't know. But the tunnel was added because there are times where I will keep this gate closed. So if I'm going out here... and I decide to keep the gate locked for some reason, if I walk in here and forget, oh shoot, see, I could get trapped in there. So now with that tunnel, if I have these doors locked and I'm outside the town, the main town area, I can use a tunnel to get back in. Usually I'll leave this open, but it's just in case there are monsters that spawn at night, which they probably won't, but you never know. If they walk in here, they'll get stuck. Okay, so you'll remember the lumber mill, and I thought I made a tree here, but I did not, apparently. Let's do that real quick. I've found some dark oak sap trees, and so I was able to get some saplings. And so I've been putting a dark oak tree here. Dark oak trees are awesome because they are 4 of these saplings instead of the traditional 1. What are you doing in my house? Well, actually, that's the lumber mill. Hey, dude. Seriously. Get off the button. People. Okay. So this is 4... Oops. This is 4 saplings, and that means it'll grow into basically, it's like 4 trees in 1 tree. It's pretty easy, it's pretty awesome, and it's kind of big, and you get a lot of wood from those saplings. Okay, so here is the newest buildings, I guess. Well, technically not the newest, but the main big ones. So I've got a leather shop in here. And the reason why I have the leather shop in here is because we have a processing plant here. And the reason we have that is because here... Oh, you'll notice that's cool. Here we have basically a ranch. Well, I guess technically it's an animal processing plant, but... So this is where I farm animals, and you'll see all these cows and sheep and chickens and pigs and stuff. Lots of stuff. Here, you'll notice my greenhouse, which is technically a blue house, but stuff grows pretty well in here. Basically, I wanted to make a greenhouse so that I'd have an easy place to grow crops for food to breed more animals. And in here I have a shed with a furnace and a place to work and chest, and this is where I store animal products and tools and stuff. I might want to keep that. So, I think I can get up on here. But basically I wanted to make a greenhouse, and I was thinking, well, how do I want to make it? Do I want to just use glass? But I thought it'd be more fun to use different color than just regular glass. So what I did was I got some lapis lazuli or whatever. It's that blue stone that you can sometimes mine. I have a ton of it. So I got some of that. I created some dye with bone meal. I made light blue, so I'm using light blue. And I made glass, light blue glass. And then I had some concrete powder. And I can't remember if it was the right color or not. But basically I made light blue concrete powder. And I made a frame. And I started the frame with dirt. So I just built the frame, a dirt frame. I made a dirt frame, and then I replaced it with concrete powder. Now, concrete powder it doesn't stay suspended in air just like sand and gravel. So I had to make the frame and put the powder on top of the frame, and then you have to put water, so you have to put a water block on top of the concrete, or just make sure that the water touches the concrete powder. And once it does that, it solidifies the powder into solid concrete. So that's what this blue block is. It's blue concrete. But the only way to make the concrete is by creating the powder and then getting it wet. So once I had the concrete frame in place, then I put the blue glass. And then I thought, just to give it a little bit of a contrast, I put a birch wood line of blocks there, just to kind of work like just a way to give it some, you know. Well, anyway, yeah, you know what I mean. It's there just to hold everything in place. So originally, too, I was going to have this a double door, but it just looked weird with having two doors, so I just used one birchwood door. And here's, as you can see, is whatever I feel like planting in here. Seeds, please. So I've already got some more beetroot, which I just discovered recently, and I'm pretty happy about the beet. Oops. I'll get that. Finding that. I don't like beets. Okay. They don't really taste that good, but you know, it's good to have it, and pigs like them, so. Mostly I use this for wheat, but when I feel like I have enough wheat, I'll add other stuff too, because pigs, they don't like wheat, but they do like any of the vegetables that I get. Yeah, so we're going to put some more seeds in there. Okay, so now that you've kind of got to see the grounds, I'm going to show you how this works. So, what I've done is I have made this huge fenced area. Now you'll know I made a big area for my horse. Eventually I'm going to have more horses, but that way he's got a place to roam around. Okay, so in here, this section of the fenced-in area, this is where I keep animals that I'm either gonna just milk or just shear, or I'm just storing them here. These animals are basically extra. In here, this is my breeding pen area. So when this area is empty and I just have animals, in my storage pen area, I bring them in here, I breed them like crazy, and usually I'll keep this open so that they can come in and go from both pen areas. But once I have like a good amount of animals, and right now I feel like I have a pretty good amount, I will decide, okay, I've had enough breeding, so I will move animals into this pen area until I have about 4 of each type, and then I close it off so that they can't move in here. Excuse me, I didn't mean to move them so much. And the animals love me. I love me so much. Anyway, so they won't love me for much longer. So then I close that one off, and then I say, alright, it's time to get rid of some animals. So over here, we open up this gate, some of them might come in on their own. I have this nice contraption. Now this is a warning sign here, and this is kind of a way if I have to maintain this little tunnel here. But this is the entrance into the processing plant. This is the entrance to the plant that you do not want to use, because it will eventually kill you. But the animals, well, they don't get much of a choice. So usually how I do this is I will like take out their favorite food and be like, hey animals. Okay, well they don't seem to be following me. He is. Hey guys. Yeah, there you go. Come on, follow me over here. Yeah, you guys want to follow me? Another thing I do is I will get more leads and attach them to animals. And then, hey, chickens, come on. And then I'll just drag them in here. Okay, come on, guys, come on. Okay, we'll go back to this. Yeah, you guys all want to come in here. This is a fun place for you guys. You're gonna have some fun in here. And now I am stuck. Okay. Cows. Well, I got quite a bit of animals. I probably bred more than I needed to. Alright, so once I get enough animals in here, I will close this off. And as you can see, there's still a lot of animals left, but I don't know how much more I can fit in there. So once I got the animals in there, I will leave this place and I will activate the processing plant. Now, I had to change this. Much of the redstone circuitry is hidden underground too. Basically, I hit this button and that activates underground water flow. And that'll push the animals in to the pit. Now I used, I believe those are dispensers. Yeah, dispensers. I put them in the ground, and I put buckets in there. And basically, when I hit that button, the dispensers will let the water come out. When I hit the button again, it'll turn off the water flow. But since there's a lot of animals right now, I will not turn it off. I'll keep it on. He's just surfing. Look, he's surfing in the water. He's having fun. It's great. Okay, so that's the first part when I'm ready to process animals. Then I have to come over here and look at the leather thing for some reason. Alright, this is the processing plant. So we've already got workers in here, apparently. This is a cool bed. And you'll see a piston work set up here. And you'll see a viewing area, and you'll notice there's lava in that pit down there. Alright, so we're ready to process the animals that come around in here. And see, here's more redstone circuitry. I have this iron door so that the villagers can't get in here. And so you'll see there's a protective fence here so that you can't fall in. It's very safety-minded. Alright, so you guys ready? This is how it's gonna work. So you hit the switch, opens up, and water pushes animals into the pit. And you can see they fall in. It works pretty well, but sometimes they get stuck. Let's see. Okay, this is kind of sad. You guys. Oh, hey. You want some wheat? Yeah. There you go. Alright, I'm just gonna... Well, that's not good, but... Okay, so that's basically how it works, is once I flip the switch, it opens up this chamber here. And as you can kind of see, there's a bunch of pistons. There's 3, 6, 8 total. So there's 6 here to open up the tunnel. And then there's 2 that opens up a flow of water, which will push the animals, as you saw, into the pit. So once all the animals have gone down into the pit, and I don't have anyone else, I flip the switch to close off that. And then we can go here. Right, so if you were on this side, of course, you could watch it. Now, I have glass right there, so that, because what was happening is Without that glass wall, sometimes the animals would get stuck on the ledge where the glass is. And so, with that wall there, they just hit that. They can't get stuck there. You still saw them get kind of stuck. Technically, I should probably use glass blocks instead of window panes here, but I just like the window pane because it gives you a little bit more room to move, but how'd you like that, guys? That was fun to watch, huh? Yeah, you like that. Killing those animals. So I may eventually just put those glass blocks in there instead. You see this little crack here, you can kind of get around a little bit, but not really. Okay, so after I have processed animals, I go through here, because it's time to collect the animal products that we just made. If I can get down. Sometimes it's hard to get down here. I probably should make this a big... Come on. Get down in here. There we go. Okay. Well, I probably should close it just in case they try to walk over here. Okay. So then you come down here. Oh. Okay, so there's a couple of hoppers here. I guess technically I should probably... So there's hoppers here. There's a little bit of a area exposed because for headroom, basically. But you can't really see. But I have lava blocks up there. Now the reason why the lava blocks are stuck there and they're not dripping down is because I have signs on the walls here. So what the signs do is they block the flow of lava. Now when I was building this whole thing was wood. And I forgot that lava burns wood. So I put the lava in, and because this whole tunnel here was made out of wood, it burnt half of the processing plant, so I had to fix it. So where the lava is right now, it's brushed up against cobblestone, so it's safe. Now you'll still see that most of this tunnel is wood because I didn't want to replace the whole tunnel. And where the signs are is still wood, but the block right above the signs is cobblestone. And since the lava blocks are blocked by the signs, they won't make a stream, so there's no more fire. So once the animals pass through the lava, they fall down a little bit, but they usually die a few blocks below the lava. And that's where they drop all of this stuff. So they drop all this stuff. So because they die below the lava, all of the drops are safe. So that means I have just one block of lava. Well, it's technically 4 blocks, but it's 1 block wide. So that way the animals pass through 1 block of lava, depth-wise, so they won't die. Well, actually, the chickens probably did. Because I don't see any chicken. I see some pork, and I see steak. So, it's not great for killing chickens. If you want to kill chickens, just use a regular sword. Although, I don't know how many chickens I had in there. Chickens, they don't fall because they flap their wings, so they fall slowly. Excuse me. So if they go through the lava, most likely the lava is going to kill them instantly and anything they would have had. I think so. Well, I mean, it's possible it's safe for chickens too. I don't really remember. Maybe I just had 1 chicken. That was that one I killed. Oh well, whatever. Anyway, so the animals will pass through the lava, and because they're passing through lava and they're on fire when they die, they don't drop raw meat. They drop cooked meat. So it does take a lot of the work out. If you need meat right away because you're going to go on an adventure and you need to make sure you have a supply of food, well, that will cook it for you. Now the downside of that is you don't get any experience points for cooking the food yourself, like in a furnace, but it does save time. Also, you'll notice this little sign, collection area. Also, some of the villagers, they want you to trade raw meat, so I will sometimes not use a plant. But basically, if I want leather, that's what the plant's for the most. Now it's raining. Oh, jeez. Okay, now one thing I've noticed is usually when it's raining, villagers will go inside. Okay, some of them have. But some villagers just stay outside. Oh, look, there's a kid! Oh, it's another blacksmith worker guy. Okay, so now you can see I still have quite a few pigs. I will probably eventually slaughter the pigs with my sword because I want to trade the raw pork with a villager. See? But that's basically how the processing plant works. And then I have to hit this button. That'll turn off the water so that if I wanted to slaughter more animals, I could put them in there and do that. So, now let's see. You've seen, I think, mostly all the new stuff. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. There's my horse. And he's got this nice huge corral area to wander around. Yep. So, yeah, I guess I think that's all the new stuff. Oh, you'll notice I have a banner there that's blank. That's fun. Alright, so now you know what I'm still working on is the restaurant there. And I'm also starting to think that I'm probably going to want to build a wall all the way around everything. That's what I've been thinking about. The only problem I see is that if I'm going to build a wall around everything, I can build it around this side where the farm is, or ranch or whatever, pretty easily. It's not going to be that big a deal. I am going to have to make it go higher in certain areas because there's a little hill here. And it's still raining. But, as you can see outside, the wall of this town is completely the same level. When I built the town, it wasn't perfectly flat, but I made it flat. But if I want to expand the wall around all these buildings, it's gonna have to come up here. Because at this point right here, this is how high the wall is. Excuse me, this is how high the wall is around the town. So, I don't want to have it reach the height of the wall, so what I'll have to do is if I'm going to build the wall, I'm going to have to make it higher. It's not going to look as cool, I think, but that's okay. So that won't be too bad, but I'm going to have to build a wall that cuts through the forest over here. And the reason why I don't really like that is it's pretty thick with trees. And it's going to make it complicated. I'm going to have to cut some trees down. I'm not sure I want to do that, but... Oh, look, a golem! So, actually, why don't I do something real quick? Okay. So, basically what I did was I changed the game mode to creative mode through cheats. Because I want to show you what I'm kind of dealing with, but I'm going to sleep real quick. Okay. So, we're going to go up. What? This is a cool bird's eye view of my whole island, as you can see. So, right now, the wall around my town is nice. There's the gate. You can see the lava there. It works out pretty well. The only thing is, if I'm building that wall, I have to build it around the farm there, and then I'm probably going to make a gatehouse over here somewhere. But I'd have to build a wall probably around the lumber yard, and it would have to cut through the forest. I could just... See? So I'm still thinking how I'm going to do that. Because it's going to have to cut through the forest. But I'd probably build a gatehouse. Well, I was going to build a gatehouse here, but now that I have the kill pit. So I'd probably build a gatehouse like right here. Or I guess I could build a gatehouse right here. And build the wall all along here. So lots to think about. Ooh, there's my bridge. Actually, yeah, if I did build the gatehouse there and built the wall along, or yeah, along here, and then I could build a wall and just cut through the forest. I could make it work. It's just I really don't want to disturb the forest because this forest is really cool. But you can really get an idea how big this island is. It's pretty big. I've got lots of places I could build if I wanted to. Right there and along here. So it's pretty big, but I'm not really going to build a whole lot. Also, this workers' row over here, which is pretty low condition, it's not the most comfortable place to live. Once I get enough villagers, I'm hoping to get enough villagers so I'll have 2 golem spawns at a time. Once that happens, and these groups of buildings here I'm going to tear out and build more comfortable, larger buildings, probably 2-story buildings and stuff for all the people to go in. But right now it's just a very small, rudimentary little village there. And so that's what I'm thinking. I would like to expand the wall, make it thicker, which wouldn't be too bad, but there's a lake there, and that would be... If I made the wall thicker, it would... It might cause some problems with my cobblestone machine, so I'd have to fiddle with that a little bit. Oh, and there is one little change I did too. I guess I could show you guys. So we come down here. I replaced... Oh, I didn't replace those doors. I had oak doors, and I still have some oak doors, so I should finish, but I replaced some of them with dark oak. So, that's pretty cool. Dark oak. Also, I did add armor stand. So this is what the armor stand looks like. It's pretty cool. It uses an iron slab and wood, and you can basically put armor on it. Nothing in there. So I have spruce doors there. Well, I think that's basically it. Oh, I did change the... Oh, no, I didn't change that. Okay, so that's basically all the changes I've done to my world. I hope you enjoyed watching this shorter video of my updates. When I do some more major updates, I'll make another video, but for now, that's it. So, thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.